Hey folks, it's time for Isaac's Saturday race tips. Now let's get straight into it. Today I'll look at three racetracks: Sandown, Royal Randwick and Eagle Farm. Let's start off with Sandown first. We'll start off with race 3, which is the Ladbroke Split Handicap. It's a 1300 metre. I've only got the one horse in this, and it's number 7, Fleet 16. It's in barrier 6, and it's currently backed at $6. Jamie Carr in the saddle. This horse, she's a wonderful 3-year-old, and, it's had a couple placings, couple wins in her last starts, and it's used to this distance, that 1,200 to 1,400 metres, and I think it can definitely get the win today, or at least have a certain chance. Race 8 is the Ladbroke Handicap. It's a 1300 metre as well. I've got number 2, Defiant Dancer, barrier 7, currently backed at $7. And I've also got number 11, Arkham Knight, barrier 9, currently backed at $5. And Jamie Carr is on board again for one of my selections at Sandown. Arkham Knight and Carr. I think Jamie Carr on Arkham Knight, that's the right jockey for Arkham Knight, because it needs a win. It needs that jockey to guide it through the race. It needs that jockey to come around the bend, coming up to the straight, and make it the right move at the right time. I think with a jockey like Jamie Carr, she can definitely get Arkham Knight on track for the win. Speaking of Defiant Dancer, it needs a win, this horse. You look at its form lately, it's got a few placings and it's slacked off to just get fourth or drop out of that. It needs a win, it needs to get back on track. And hopefully Defiant Dancer can maybe get the win today. Now, that's it from Sandown. Let's move off to Royal Randwick. We'll start off with race 6, the Racing to Win Handicap. It's a 1600 metre. I've got number 2, Order Again, barrier 5, Jason Collette on board. And it's currently backed at $7.50, so good odds there for Order Again. I've also got number 11, which is one of the favourites. It's Brutality, currently backed at $3.40. The only thing that's a bit of a worry for me is the inside barrier with barrier 1. But, it's got time to get in a position where it can make the right move. And Brutality, he's an explosive horse, and it's definitely got a chance in this one. We move off to race 7, the Bob Charlie AO Stakes. It's an 1100 metre. I've only got the one horse in this. It's number 14, Ballistic Lover, barrier 16. She's a great 3-year-old, backed at $6 currently. That's the odds on her. And, good odds there. And with Regan Bayless in the saddle, this jockey is a great jockey, and we've seen in previous meetings with Ballistic Lover and Regan Bayless, the duo, it's turned into success, because that duo's win in the Denise's Joy Stakes, which was an 1100 metre a few weeks ago, it was a great win. It was a nice win, and Regan Bayless knows this horse, and this horse knows the jockey, and that's what you want in a race, just to have that bond and that relationship between the jockey and the horse, and it leads up to a win, as we've seen with Ballistic Lover and Regan Bayless in the past. We move off to Eagle Farm. There's a lot of races, a lot of brilliant races at Eagle Farm, and we've seen this in the past few weeks. Let's start off with race 3, the Gunston Classic 3-year-old race. It's a 1600 metre. It's hard to go past number 2, Ayrton. Now, barrier 1, James McDonald on board. It is the favourite, currently backed at $1.85. Its last race was on the 29th of May in the Fred Best Classic. Now, it was a 1400 metre. It came second because Apache Chase upset it. And if you remember in my Saturday race tips on that day, I said Apache Chase might get the upset on Ayrton, called it, and it was a shame for Ayrton, but gee, what a race by Apache Chase, and hopefully Ayrton can get back on the winners list, but, I think a horse that could upset it potentially is number 4, Easy Campese, barrier 5, Tommy Berry in the saddle. It's a bit of a roughie, currently backed at $15, but with that centre barrier, if it can just stay in that position for most of the race, I think it can have a nice win. And, Ayrton might have a bit of work to do with that inside barrier. Race 4 is the Brisbane Cup Quality Handicap. It's a 3,200 metre. Number 1 is my pick, Cariff. Barrier 2, Tommy Berry on board again for one of my selections at Eagle Farm. Carif's currently backed at $5. Now, it came second in the Premier's Cup, which was the 2,400 metre. So it's had nice form lately. I think a horse that could surprise everyone is number 2, Brimham Rocks, who's in Barrier 1. Hugh Bowman on board, currently backed at $13. Now, it hasn't run this distance a lot in its career, Brimham Rocks, and, it's used to that 2,400 around those, that distance, I guess. With the jockey like Hugh Bowman, I think he knows when to move roughies or to move a horse like Brimham Rocks. Chris Waller and Bowman, they've worked a lot together in the past, and with a horse like Brimham Rocks, who's part of the Chris Waller stable, Bowman knows this horse well. And hopefully Brimham Rocks can get up for the win. The inside barrier is an issue, but, you've got a lot of time. It's 3,200 metres. You've got a lot of time to think about it and move Brimham Rocks into the right position to swoop coming up to the straight. Race 5 is the Q22 Weight for Age. It's a 2,200 metre. It's hard to go past this horse because he had a phenomenal win in the Doomben Cup by 7 lengths. 7 lengths, and it was a 2,000 metre. Imagine what he can do with 2,200 metres. He's just going to have a lot of time. It's number 1, Zaki, Barrier 9. It's the favourite at $1.50. James McDonald on board with a jockey like J-Mac on Zaki. It just leads up to a dominant pair on the track, and it's going to be hard to stop Zaki in this race. I think Zaki will get the win. I'm not sure by how many lengths because he's that dominant on the track. So, for me, I'd say he'll win by 4 lengths. 4 lengths will be my final prediction. 4 or 5 lengths around there. Hopefully he can, and it'll be another dominant win because he's quite unstoppable, this horse. Race 7 is the J.J. Atkins plate. It's a 1,600 metre. I've only got the one pick. It's number 5, Port Louis, Barrier 13. He's a wonderful 2-year-old colt. He's had okay form lately. Hugh Bowman's in the saddle, and it's currently back at $4.50, so hopefully Port Louis can get up for the win. Race 8 is the Straight Broke Handicap. It's a 1,400 metre. I've got number 11, Vega 1, Barrier 4, currently backed at $6. Rachel King in the saddle. Now, Vega 1 had a great win in the Kingsford Smith Cup a couple of weeks back, and Jamie Carr was on board for that win. That was a 1,300 metre. Vega 1's definitely got that extra 100 metres in her. If she can put on an absolute race like she did in that Kingsford Smith Cup, it's just going to be a pleasure to watch because that win, just to make that move, and she just made it look easy. Vega 1. It was a bit difficult, but she made it look easy, and she pulled through like roses, and it was a great win. I've also got number 18, Apache Chase, Barrier 7, currently back to $10. Jim Byrne on board. Now, after its upset on Ayrton, I'm not surprised that it can get a win like that. I'm not sure what to expect from this horse because it can surprise people, and then when it looks like winning, it maybe can drop off, unfortunately. But hopefully Apache Chase can get back-to-back wins and upset other horses in this race, like Vega 1, like a couple others in there who are looking at being the favourites. Because it can beat a brilliant horse like Ayrton. I'm sure it can beat a lot of other horses. Race 9 is the Dane Ripper Stakes Fillies and Mares race, 1,300 metre. It's the last race I look at on my race tips today. I've got number 2, Odium, Barrier 16, James McDonald on board, currently backed at $9. It's going to need to do a bit of work in the early stages of this race with that wide barrier, but I'm sure James McDonald will make the right move at the right time. I've also got number 10, Brooklyn Hustle, who's in Barrier 13, Craig Williams on board. I'd like to see Brooklyn Hustle get up. She's had a win or two this year, which have been great, and hopefully it can get a win today. If I needed to choose a winner, I'd go with Odium. Despite the wide barrier, I'd go with Odium number 2, and Brooklyn Hustle to maybe get second or third, or hopefully get that placing. Guys, that's it from me. It's going to be a ripper day of racing. If you are taking a punt, good luck, and as always, gamble responsibly.